you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
I think that recruiting, as it relates to recruiting, your question, I think recruiting is the most imperfect science in the world because you just don't know what's going to end up being the major factor up here in determining whether a guy continues to be a self-starter, whether he's driven to be great, whether he allows himself to be affected by the noise outside or whether he could care less and would play in an empty parking lot and play football all day and all night. A guy that really loves football and is willing to do whatever to do right by his team and by his program. That's what a Miami guy's always been, relentless competitors that just go, man. They don't stop coming. So, again, that was a special time, right? A special era in college football that I was fortunate enough just to be a part of, a small part of. And a big reason for coming home was to do whatever it takes to build ourselves into being that kind of a program again, knowing the issues that exist and what you have to do to make that a reality. So, and all that stuff to me, in my opinion, I do love work. I love process. I think it's great stuff and it's exciting and motivating for us. So yeah, those things are always taken into account when evaluating your current roster and also your prospective student athletes.
The storm is brewing. The warning flag is up. It's time to get ready for Miami Hurricanes football. Welcome to The Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show on the SportsTalk305 Network. Live from Walk-Ons Sports Bistro in Kendall. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. When you're looking for the finest energy drink on the planet, you can only get it delivered to your home or office by going to myedgedrink.com. Use our code Big O and get 10% off an energy drink that's delicious, smooth, and has zero aftertaste. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Oh, yeah, baby. Welcome aboard. A little Canes football ready to go. You ready, Mikey? You ready to rock and roll, my man?
Born ready. Oh, born ready. How you been, man?
I am feeling good. I'm looking forward to this, just in case I am messing with your headphones there. I needed to raise mine, but we are out here at Walk-Ons, baby, in Kendall come on out here and join us. We'll be out here throughout the afternoon into the evening. I'm hoping that we have a happy evening by the end of the day. You know, Mike, you did a great job in that press conference asking Mario about, you know, Canes players and what it is, what identifies, what represents a Canes player. And, you know, one of the things that in today's college football, there's all kinds of demands now that there weren't before because I guess some of that NIL stuff was behind the scenes. So it was, you know, there's a lot of pressure. Now it's different. It's out in public. You've got social media, you know, things that Mario and all those great Canes, they didn't have to deal with that monster of social media, which might have derailed some things back in those days because they were kind of party guys. But the bottom line was they also had the guys that had the discipline to play well on the field. And, you know, earlier this week, I talked about Kayvon Thibodeau. On Tuesday, which is the NFL's day off. And Kayvon Thibodeau, as you know, is a first-round pick of the Giants, formerly of Oregon, formerly Mario's player. So he's out packing boxes for the homeless. And, you know, and then I look at Javon Holland with the Miami Dolphins in his second year, and he's a captain, and he's leading the defense, and he's making the calls. You kind of know where I'm going now, right?
Yep.
And so this is where, while Mario has a ton of work, and I'm the first guy to tell you some of the things I'm not happy with, like Josh Gaddis. I'm really not impressed with Josh Gaddis's coaching and how he has transitioned his offense to the offense he inherited and the players he inherited. You know, I see a Mike McDaniel adjust to whatever he has and use it. I don't think Josh is doing it. So I'm the first guy to tell you, I love Mario. I love what he's going to do. And I'll tell you, he's got a long ways to go. But the key, okay, yeah, we can be critical about one thing here or there, and it's going to take some time. But until you get the Javon Hollands inside Coral Gables, until you get the Kayvon Thibodeaus inside Coral Gables, until you get that mammoth human being that's playing for the Detroit Lions, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not just about the talent, whether you're a 4 or 5-star guy. It's about having the character dudes that are willing to pay the price on the field in practice, and then at the same time be able to handle the monster I just talked about. Social media, NIL, all that other stuff that other guys did not have to deal with in public. And so as we start this show and this press conference and that question, it reminded me a lot of what I was talking about on Tuesday when I saw Thibodeau, and I said, this is why Mario's so far away. Until you get those kind of guys roaming the locker room for you, you're not going to be able to dominate.
Leaders, leaders. And great way to start off the show because, I mean, it was on everybody's mind, I would think. Like, okay, we know what it takes. We've seen it. You know, you've been doing radio down here for 30-plus years, and you know what a Miami guy, what it takes, right? And the product of on the field as of late has not exemplified that at all, not even close.
Right.
So no leaders offensively, at least from the outside looking in. No leaders defensively, at least from the outside looking in. And so it makes you wonder. And like you said, it's going to take a while because to find the Kayvon Thibodeaus or Javon Hollands and whoever else, Mario guys, okay, they're not here right now. And if they are, they need a complete makeover, which is I was asking Coach Cristobal, because being a Miami guy, is it something that you just automatically have, or is it something that can be taught? You know what I mean? And, you know, in my opinion, like I said, I've never been inside of the locker room. I've never been, you know, a University of Miami football player on green shirt or anything like that. But to me, it's not something that can be instilled in you. To me, it's either you got it or you don't. Right. And, you know, going back to what you said about guys and having distractions and everything like that, there were distractions back in the day, but not like this, just like how you alluded to. But that 0-1 team, anybody will tell you, the players will tell you, the coaches will tell you, it was player-led. It was player-led. And, you know, I think it was one of those 30 for 30s that Billy Corbin put out there. Somebody in that documentary said that the coaches were just chaperones. That's all they were. So until the guys get in the building, like you said, until, you know, there's a sense of oneness, accountability, and a sense of team, one goal, one track, one mind, Miami's going to stay far away. But I have the utmost confidence that Cristobal is going to get it right.
I do too. It's just we have to be patient, and in a way, it's kind of, for 2 years I preached, dude, Tua doesn't have coaching, doesn't have players. You got to put it around him. Oh, he sucks, noodle arm, this, that. And I said, you until you see this, you got to be patient. You got to give him some time, and it's worked out.
Yep.
And sometimes, listen, they've told us to be patient with all the other guys, and it hasn't worked out. And I think the only one that kind of hurts a little bit was Mark Richt. But unfortunately, Rick had his health issues, and you got him at a time in coaching where it was
He was ready to retire.
Yeah, man, he was more ready to retire than really restart an entire program. And the energy it takes. Mario has the energy, the commitment, all of that, but you just can't do it overnight. And so that's why, look, today, I'll tell you, I'm not expecting some amazing performance and even a win today, to be quite honest. I'm terrified of this game. The last time they were here on this field, they scored like 750, 850 yards or something. I still think they're scoring from that game. You know what I mean? They've won 3 in a row against Miami right now. And you want to know what terrifies me about this game?
Let's see if we're on the same page. Go ahead.
So is Miami's quarterback in the NFL?
Not at all.
Are both their running backs in the NFL the last couple of years?
Not at all.
No, right? How about their receivers? Are they made it over to the NFL yet?
I mean, other than DJ Dallas, Travis Homer, running backs, receivers.
They're like backups, right?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
Yeah. That's my point.
I hear what you're going. I hear where you're
going. They're drafting more players that are making the transition to the NFL than the damn Hurricanes. So, and again, the guy that's coaching has a much better track record in history and everything, Mac Brown, than anybody that's been at the U since, I don't know, you got to go back to like Jimmy Johnson or some crap like that.
Right.
So that's the problem now. And that's what Mario's now fighting. Guys that could not get it done and not bring enough talent in. Dude, the two receivers that balled out last year, are they balling in the NFL? Where are they?
Mike Harley was close to being on the Browns roster. He's not. Charleston Rambo, have no idea what he's doing. I see your point, man.
That's my point. That's what scares the crap out of me. And then when I look at May,
oh my God,
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, no, he's a robot. He's a robot. 19 touchdowns. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I mean, it's just,
leads the nation, if I'm not mistaken. 19 touchdowns. He's awesome on third downs.
1 INT.
1 interception, meaning he's a smart guy that doesn't turn the ball over, doesn't get rattled. Meaning what? Miami's defensive line is going to have to get home. Okay. And is there such thing as covered sacks? Yes, but that's probably asking too much about our secondary, at least right now. Miami's going to have to play a complete game. All 3 phases, special teams, offense, defense, and that goes without saying. But, and I know we're not getting into the keys of the game yet, but I'll tell you, I'll cheat minds really quick. Getting off the field on third downs.
Oh, my God.
You can't give this quarterback second chances.
No, you're done. He can run.
No. Yes.
He's one of your leading rushers on the damn team.
Right. Like I say, he's a robot. Drake May, whoever's listening out there, thanks for tuning in. If you guys don't know, you will know the name by the end of the day. Miami has a history of kind of making opposing quarterbacks, household names. By
the end of the game, I'll have Tua haters saying the Dolphins should draft him. It's like I'm watching the Ravens game. Well, I can't wait till we sign Lamar in the first half. And then the second half, I never heard that back again. You know what I mean? But that's what, it's kind of like what you deal with. So I'm sure May will be drafted by tons of Dolphin fans by the end of the game. You know what I mean? It is a scary. Now, if I want to build some hope up for myself, Notre Dame sucks and they beat them.
Right? And they beat them. That game was in North Carolina.
BYU is going to pound their ass.
Oh, that's
today,
BYU. BYU is. We have TV set up here. Great job by Walk-Ons. So we're going to have our eyes on a couple games.
Are there TVs at Walk-Ons? Yeah. My Lord. By the way, Yanira, the marketing manager here, Jason Semino, the executive chef out here, Joe. I can't say enough about Joe. Joe has been just absolutely awesome. They are fantastic people out here. It's a ginormous bar, okay? Ginormous. And it's so comfortable. The roof is like 30 foot in the air, so it's not like a trapped up little sports bar. And you've got TVs I mean, wherever they could fit TVs, they've got TVs everywhere, man. We're right at the entrance, and we're close to the video games, which I already been stopping Mike from going to play at the damn video games already a couple times. Like, yo, relax. You got hours, okay? Wait for halftime. And so we got like we just at the entrance here, we have 3 big TVs next to us, so we can watch all the games and everything going on. And Mike, the food.
Oh man.
That's the only thing that's killing Sean, that he's not here today, because it's his daughter's birthday today. So he's with the family. So we got Chad, of course, who's driving. Chad is going to be the man for the Kane stuff anyways, as it is. So it's really kind of normal anyways, because Chad is going to be the executive producer of our Canes coverage stuff. So, but we got Chad, and I know Sean is missing the food. Just, I know Sean. Sean's like me. And wait till you try the food in this place. Walk-Ons is just crazy.
Well, we're not going to miss the food. I see a sign right next to you. Oh, buffalo chicken sandwich. That looks like it has my name all over it, at least for halftime. So I'll probably end up trying that out. If I'm in the mood, I mean, if the Canes aren't looking good, I'm probably going to want to leave, and you're going to be left hanging for postgame, bro. I'm sorry to tell you. But we'll see.
You'll stick around because you'll keep ordering food. So I know how this whole thing works. So you'll keep ordering food.
Mike, I got to know.
Gaby Urrutia is going to be joining us in about 7 minutes. Gaby will be joining us every week now, every pregame. And he's going to join us during the week, okay, on the Miami Hurricanes watch. Cool. So that way Mike and Gaby can talk recruiting, because Gaby is one of the best, if not the best, that covers recruiting for the Canes. I don't know if there's anybody that's all over it like he is, everywhere, constantly taking pictures, posting videos at all these 7-on-7s, high school workouts. So right now he is working the game right now, and he's checking out, because there's a lot of recruits today. Today. This game's enormous. Yeah, you're right. You're so right, because kids are fair weathered, man. Mm-hmm. It's like they don't stick with you through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Like, my wife has stuck with me through thin, and now I'm really thick. So, I give her a lot of credit, but, kids aren't going to be like my wife. They're not going to stick with you, So this game is so important, and we'll have Gaby on now. So that's another element that we've added to the platform now for you Canes fans, that you're going to have an insider, Manny breaking news, and then Gaby obviously helping out with recruiting. Mike is also he's got access to a lot of the press conferences. He'll be there too, covering all the stuff. So we're slowly but surely increasing, our Canes coverage for you guys. And don't worry, Mike's show needs to be on the road. So we're working on that too. It's just everything doesn't happen overnight. You know what I mean? But looking forward to having Gaby on twice a week here on the platform to talk about something incredibly important. And I know you love talking recruiting, so you and Gaby will have some good conversations. Oh,
Gaby's a hard worker, man. Has come up the ranks, and known him for a while, and I'm glad that he'll be on the network now. But yeah, man, in terms of recruiting, that's another reason why this game is huge. I mean, several reasons, right? I mean, you don't want to have a 3-game losing streak, right? Miami has had the taste of 2 losses in their mouth for 3 weeks, because remember, they're coming off of a bye, which Coach Cristobal is undefeated after a bye, at least during his time at Oregon. Okay, can't confirm for if the same was at FIU, but at least for his time at Oregon, he is undefeated coming off a bye, which is good news for Miami fans. We all know the heartaches that Miami's football team had to encounter with Manny Diaz at the helm. Never looked so good coming off of a bye. But going back to Gaby, and there's a boatload of recruits at the game today. And besides the potential 3-game losing streak, you don't know how heads or minds will sway if Miami looks terrible in a loss or good in it doesn't matter, because it's about winning. And that's how you build. That's how you get.
You got to win. You just got you got to win, because and let me tell you, you might not lose much if you play a hell of a game and you lose a really close one, maybe, but an 800-yard offensive performance.
No. That can't happen. You want to know,
Mikey, that can't happen, bro.
No, it will not. And there were no adjustments made at all. Carolina, that game that you're talking about that they just scored again a couple years ago,
yes,
they kept running the same play over and over and over and over. And it's like, what the hell's going on? You want to know when that game was? It was the day after, 2 days after my graduation. I graduated fall 2020, and a buddy of mine went down to Homestead, picked me up, and I was treated to that disaster. Okay, then the all black unis, which I think we're going orange on white today. But yeah, going back to what we were saying about Gaby, that's a huge reason as to why this game is as big as it is. Huge, huge, huge recruiting implications.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt. And when it comes to recruiting, look, I'm not the biggest guy that tracks recruiting or anything like that. But Nathaniel Joseph from Edison.
Oh yeah.
Amari Ford is going to be there. Reuben Bain Jr., Stequan Clark, the linebacker from Central, Micaiah Mays from North Palm Beach, Francis Magoa from Bradenton, all the IMG guys, Antonio Tripp, Jaden Wayne, Desmond Ricks, Brandon Winton, Jared Gibson, Ernest Willer, Justin Scott, Joseph Stone, Zaquan Patterson from Chaminade, Madonna, Liam Andrews, Booker Pickett from Tampa, J.T. Taggart from Delray Beach, American Heritage. So you're talking about an enormous list of recruits that are here today in the game, and that's why you've got to, and let me tell you something. Here's where the performance becomes even more important. You're not going to have a great college atmosphere at the stadium. It's not going to be a packed stadium,
right.
And unfortunately, because of the way the Canes have played, you're going to have a lot of no-shows and you're going to have some empty seats. So you're not going to have the atmosphere that you would have if you were in North Carolina or in some other places, which helps those recruits because they love, they're about me. Yeah. They're about social media. So they want lots of people cheering them on. If they don't see a lot of people cheering them on, that's kind of like a turnoff for them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why, you look at it, this is also important to send that kind of a message, Mike.
100%. And you want to know what? If you are the type of football player that's leaning on other things to motivate you, then you shouldn't be playing football because yes, a crowd helps. And yes, it's important. But you're playing football because you love it, right? You should be able to motivate yourself. This is the first game in the ACC. And I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. The preseason goals are still ahead of you. So that's important to get off to a good start.
No, you're right. The ACC goals are still there. Yeah, you're right. Now, are they realistic? Probably not because of the way you've played.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Going back to the list of recruits that you named, which, by the way, whoever out there is up to date on their recruiting, about 99.9 of the names that you mentioned, are Miami verbal commits. The top of the list, Francis Maragoa, the number one offensive tackle in the country. Guy's a mammoth, 6'5", 330, like you said, out of IMG. Jaden Wayne, Miami's only D-line commit right now. Nathaniel Joseph, I think he played yesterday. Reuben Bain, who had a big win yesterday up at Travis Powell Stadium versus the Northwestern Bulls. That series is now tied, by the way, 13-all. Cam Kitchens was talking about that and how important it was for, Northwestern guys to get that win. But he's going to be there, and all eyes on this game. So Miami needs to bring the energy from the beginning. And guess what? What was mentioned in in one of the press conferences earlier this week on Monday. So Jalen Rivers, he was asked, and he was talking about, the pregame energy that was absent last game against Middle Tennessee State. He says that the issues has been fixed. And I get it. It's a lot of talk and things like that. What do you do to get that done? But we'll see, because if you got to bring the energy, there's only one person that can do that, and that's yourself. And you got to lean on your players. You got to lean on your guys, and we'll see how accurate and true that is, especially if there's a lack of crowd support.
Right, exactly. And in order to erase that, you got to have a performance today, and hopefully they'll be able to get it done. We await Gaby Urrutia from 247 Sports, or is it 247 or 24/7?
We talked about this last week, and I think you could go. I think you're good with either way, either one. But I wanted to ask you something that can definitely contribute to a slow or fast start. You have it's the Big O show, and I'm talking about that right now on the sidelines, right? How many series are you giving TBD if he's looking shaky?
But why is he looking shaky? Are people still dropping footballs?
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
Okay, because eventually you're going to drive Jake to do the same thing.
Yeah. That's a good point.
It's just so that's my whole thing with all of that.
Okay.
It's is he playing like terrible? Is he like
Is he
spraying
missing
it all
open
over the
guys?
place? Yeah, then that's different. Then maybe confidence is wane and he's not comfortable. And yeah. All right, let's bring Gaby on. Let's do it. Gaby Urrutia from 247 Sports, and of course, covering the Canes. Gaby, how you doing, my friend? How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Out here at Hard Rock Stadium, right outside of the recruiting section, man, holding it down.
I know, and you're always holding it down when it comes to recruiting. And welcome aboard to the platform and the family, my brother. I appreciate you, and I know Mike does too. So let's have some fun. Talk to us. We read a list of names that are out there. Who are you seeing, and who are the guys that Miami really need to get out of this group?
Yeah, I think the big one is five-star wide receiver Hakeem Williams. He's a Florida State commit. He pulled up here this morning. That was one of a couple kids they were trying to keep under wraps until today. I think that's a pretty big deal getting the 6'3", 6'4", 190-pounder here to Hard Rock Stadium. So that's definitely a big one. 2024 five-star cornerback Desmond Ricks just walked up the steps, so he's in attendance. Definitely a couple other guys here too. Not Miami commit Ray Joseph, the wide receiver out of Miami's Edison. He's here at the recruiting section also. So these guys are filing in slowly but surely, and it's been an eventful morning here at Hard Rock Stadium so far.
Gaby, thanks for joining us, man. So, I mean, all these recruits there, have you got to speak to any of them? Is there anything that they're kind of hinting or giving away as to, I want to see this from Miami? I don't care how Miami looks. As long as they look good, then okay. Is there anything that you're kind of picking up from the way that they're talking to each other or maybe even you? I think Gaby's
just kind of taking attendance right now. I got Ruben Bain walking.
Got a little frozen there. He's at the stadium.
Yeah,
guys are all coming in.
Can you repeat that again? I'm sorry, Gaby. You froze for a second there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know if you caught me. Ruben Bain walking in now. He's obviously a big time target out of Miami Central. Guys I'm not really talking with the guys before. Where the media is allowed. So it's just kind of watching them as they walk in. I'm going to stop.
Oh, it's breaking up badly, Gaby. Breaking up badly, unfortunately. There, are you there?
What's up, man? Yeah, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you. It's just breaking up badly, unfortunately, right now.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm not. By the way, how the hell do you remember all these faces and names? It's a crap ton of people. How the hell do you do that, dude?
How's everything going, bro? What's up, coach? How's everything? It's pretty easy. I feel like you kind of get I don't know, you get used to it. You see them time and time again. You kind of, just kind of remember faces. Especially with some of these younger guys that are. The guys you kind of see from when they're younger. You kind of just develop it. You study their profile photos. You just kind of get to know who's who. So luckily, I guess I have an eye for it. I feel like I kind of always have. I'm kind of good with faces and stuff like that. And while I'm saying that, Miami commit Tommy Kinsler is walking into the building now. So another one of those guys who's just getting here now. It's for me, it's just kind of natural. I love what I do. I take a lot of pride in it. So it's just kind of putting in the effort, putting in the work, kind of know who's who, and that's just something I feel like I'm able to do pretty well.
And by the way, being in this business as long as I have, I know when somebody does it and they love it. And I know when somebody does it and it's just a job. And I'm always impressed with you because I know you. I can tell that you love it in a big time way. By the way, stay in that spot you're at right now because it's really good. Really good connection. What do you got, Mike?
No, I just wanted to see if maybe, like I said, if recruits.
Gaby, nice to meet you.
I never met you personally.
Yeah, how's everything going?
It was really good
to meet you, man.
Sorry, man. No, it's okay. Listen, we're glad that you're doing your job because it helps us and makes our job a lot easier.
You guys are getting the reality of everything. This is how it goes over here. Just kind of standing in the paint, holding it down. So this is just how it goes. You guys are getting the uncut raw version of it, which I think is pretty cool. It's just how it goes.
I love it.
Off there, Mike.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I just wanted to ask you because everybody knows the vibe that recruits were giving, at least the media, after the Texas A&M game. They weren't super disappointed because Miami had a good showing. But what do you think is going to take for them to have the same type of vibe today? Is it going to be looking good in the loss, or is it going to be you got to win? Period. What do you get from that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends who you ask, right? I feel like a lot of these commits are locked in. I mean, I think if it gets ugly, obviously here, against North Carolina, that's not ideal. I mean, that's not what you want to happen. I mean, I think at that point, guys are just going to start naturally, reevaluating their options. But, I think overall, it probably affects the the uncommitted guys some. I mean, obviously you're battling out some big time programs for some of these dudes. So, I expect there to be some disappointment if it doesn't go well. But really, ultimately, I think Miami needs to walk out of here with a win. I think that's just the way that this kind of has to go. If they want the reaction that they sort of need, just kind of with the way recruiting's going right now, with the way their season's going right now. So, I'm hoping for a win. I know they're hoping for a win, and that's going to be best case scenario, of course.
Gaby, at times when we've watched some of these players, and sometimes even this season, we've seen in some of these games where you think, hey, is the effort really there? And you kind of question sometimes the character of some of these guys that are left over from prior recruiting classes. And when I look at, when I walk into the locker room, I see a Javon Holland. And I say, okay, well, until Mario gets more of these kind of guys, that's when this program's going to turn around. It's not just talent, but it's having those character guys. And what you know about some of these recruiting classes that they're going after and some of these young guys, do you see those kind of character kids in some of them?
I'm sorry, I lost you guys there for a second.
That like Javon Holland for the Dolphins, a character guy, a guy that's already a leader on the Dolphins in his second year. And one of the things that I think, Gaby, in order for Mario to turn this around is to not just get talented players, but get character players too at the same time. So do you see that in some of these recruits that they're going after, that they are character guys that have leadership qualities, those kind of things?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a part of the type of person that they're sort of recruiting, right? I think it's not always got to be, what they sort of see out there. I mean, I think they're recruiting a certain type of player, right? Like you need to kind of, I don't know. I feel like they kind of need to flip the mentality of the room. I think they need to just get those Mario Cristobal type of players. And I think that goes from what they do on the field, obviously, but I think what they do off of it matters a lot too. The way they carry themselves, the way they are mentally, the way that they kind of just battle through adversity. I think there's a lot of different things that they're sort of factoring into, when they're recruiting any given prospect, right? Like, I mean, I think that process is too important. I think they put too much value in it. They've invested in it too much to just not look at every, sort of nick and cranny, when it goes to the mentality of a kid. And I think Coach Cristobal said it on Wednesday. Mike, I think it might have actually been the question that you asked him, where he was just like, you don't really know the mentality of a kid until you're kind of in that moment, right? Like you don't know how a kid's going to kind of develop between the ears all the time, but they try to do their best job, the best job that they can to kind of, invest in getting to know the type of kid and his mental makeup and all those types of things. So yeah, I absolutely think that that's something that matters and that they kind of consider when they're looking at anyone.
In years past, DJ Dallas is a good example. He was a hell of a recruiting ambassador for the class that he came in. How together are these guys now, at least from what you can pick up on from the outside looking in, and who's recruiting who? Are the Jalen Rashadas recruiting everyone?
Good, man. Good. Say that one more time, Mike. Sorry about that, man.
No, it's okay. I was just saying, how close are these guys in terms of recruiting each other, and who is a recruiting ambassador in this class like a DJ Dallas was a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to look at Nathaniel Joseph. I think the way that he kind of rallied, like almost immediately on social media after they lost to Middle Tennessee State. He was kind of the guy that said, hey, you know what, I'm going to put this out there. I'm going to kind of get everyone, continuing to run in the same direction and all that stuff. He kind of put his money where his mouth is in that aspect. And, he's the guy. I think that when you're kind of looking at evaluating the type of class that they have, who it is that kind of like spearheads that, I think Nathaniel Joseph is probably the guy. I think overall, guys want to play with great guys. So, there's Jaden Rashada, of course. There's Francis Malgo that people want to play with. But, I think right now, the vocal, the DJ Dallas type is probably Nathaniel Joseph.
So he sounds like a leader. He sounds like a leader, which is what Miami is lacking right now. So that's great to hear.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
All right. And by the way, folks, you want to find out more about recruiting, make sure you follow Gaby on Twitter. He is an exceptional follow at Gaby Urrutia 247 and catch his work there at 247 Canes, 247 Sports. Sign up and be a subscriber and get the insight there. And, of course, you can catch him twice a week here on the platform. getting it done. Gabby, enjoy the game.
Absolutely.
Keep
What's up,
networking,
Coach?
baby. Keep getting it done.
How you doing?
We'll catch
You,
up
man.
during
Absolutely.
the week,
Thank
my
you,
friend.
guys. Appreciate you. Appreciate you having me.
You got it. There you go. Gaby Urrutia. That's why we brought him on.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Some backstage access.
He's right there in the middle of all the recruiting going on, and
rubbing elbows with everybody.
High school coaches, players, recruits, family members. Gabby does an excellent job, man. So definitely a guy you want to follow. We're going to talk to Tommy Ashley in hour number 2. And Tommy is with InsideCarolina.com, so we'll get a little preview of the Tar Heels today in hour number 2. And he's also got the Game Plan podcast, so we'll get the latest about the Tar Heels and the Canes at 3:15. Of course, we're coming to you live from Walk-Ons, baby, in Kendall. Come on out here and join us, man. Easy place to find. It's right off of Kendall Drive. 90th and 162nd. So come on out here and join us. We'll be out here all afternoon long. And don't forget, one of our proud sponsors is Edge Energy Drink. And listen, last night I had a little edge myself. I was hanging out with the wife. We were hanging out in the backyard, relaxing with the dogs. We were hitting the golf clubs a little bit, working on our short game and all that. And drinking a little Edge and a little Grey Goose, man. I had a couple of those last night. We were grooving on a sweet night last night. That was really good. And let me tell you, when it comes to Edge, it is the finest energy drink on the planet. Delicious, smooth, and has zero aftertaste, folks. And you can get 10% off. Go to myedgedrink.com. Can't get it in a store. You got to order it online. You get it delivered right to your home. You get 10% off by using our code BIGOSHOW, and you're going to love it as an energy drink, because most of the energy drinks I've tried in my lifetime, they've got this nasty aftertaste. I hate aftertaste, dude. I don't care if it's soda, energy drink. I hate an aftertaste overall. Well, Edge, delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. And as an elixir, you want to mix it up with a little vodka, or mix it up with a little rum or something like that. You are going to absolutely love it, man. It is a great elixir also. Same there. And if you want to use it for your tailgating, all that good stuff, go to myedgedrink.com. Use our code BIGO, baby, and get the most delicious energy drink on the planet. myedgedrink.com. All right. Mike No-Go Zone says, is anyone else pleasantly surprised that this game will be on national television? I think a lot of people thought early on in the season this would be one of the sexy matchups in the ACC. And, the way the offense played last year, you thought maybe they could continue lighting it up a little bit, and unfortunately they haven't been able to. And so North Carolina has lived up to the billing that they thought in the preseason. Miami is the one that hasn't, and that's kind of the one thing that's hurt this whole process.
Definitely that. And, if there is one thing outside of the lack of tempo when you compare this year's offense versus last year's offense, look at the blocking schemes. It's a lot more pulling, a lot more get your man hat to hat, and that's part of the reason why Miami's offensive line looked at least decent the first couple games. It's kind of, to my understanding, they kind of switched things up blocking wise up front, went kind of more to a zone type of scheme against Middle Tennessee State. And so I'm wondering if they're going to get back to their, usual Josh Gaddis and pulling and getting guys hats on hats and just doing that. They're going to have to. This is a much bigger team, really inspired team come down here to play Miami. And listen, like we said earlier, the ACC goals are still ahead of Miami. Depending on how they look today, we can either shoot those down completely or maybe ride a little momentum into next week. But you're right, this was maybe one of the more build games in the preseason, because you're expecting both teams to at least have one or no losses heading in. And this is, when you look at everybody else in the Coastal, everything else is a mess. I mean, I know Duke right now, overall 4-1, Carolina 4-1, Georgia Tech 2-3, not looking good. Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion, for crying out loud. So it's still open, man. All right. North Carolina 1-0 in the conference, but you look at their games that they've played. Didn't look good in the first week of the season at home against FAMU. They pulled away late. Don't let that 56-24 score fool you. Then they get into a shootout with Appalachian State down the road over in Boone, North Carolina, 63-61. No, that's not a basketball score. They go to Georgia State, right? Barely win that by a touchdown, 35-28. And then, they look good against Notre Dame, 45-32. And last week they blew out Virginia Tech 41-10. They score points. So Miami's defense is going to have to be on point, get off the field on third downs. And Miami, what do you do to score points? Oh, I'm thinking that you got to lean on your run. And
you're
keep
getting back
your
to running backs.
You're getting back to running backs, but you got to keep your defense off the field.
Yes. Yeah, because that secondary is not going to last long.
No.
Against that offense. And I'm with you there. They need to somehow, Zion would help out too for that run game.
I'm expecting some lineup changes, whether they're starters or more guys getting snaps throughout the game. I think there's going to be an influx of names, especially the youth movement from Miami, that a lot of fans are going to be wanting to keep up with. But good news, I'm glad you brought up the running back situation. Pro Football Focus had a stat the other day about the highest grade. a tweet a couple of days ago, the highest graded running backs this season. They highlighted 4 players. Mayan Williams, at 90.5, has a highest rating on PFF in the nation. Blake Corum, Michigan running back, 90.2. Guess who's third on the list on PFF's highest graded running backs this season? That's our very own Henry Parrish.
I like him, man. I think he's done a really good job overall. It's not a good team, unfortunately, but I love how he runs, man.
He runs hard. He runs how you expect a running back to run. And you want to know what the funny thing about that, you and me and most people, he runs hard, he's looking great. But a lot of the coaches, well, not a lot of the coaches, Coach Gaddis actually pointed this out a couple weeks ago in the Monday press conference, and he feels that the running backs kind of go down a little too easy. All right, Parrish included, which has has been Miami's best offensive weapon through 4 games. But he feels that they go down a little bit too easy, wants them to stay on their feet more, use their balance. But Miami will have Thad Franklin in the mix today. We'll have Henry Parrish in the mix today, along with Rooster. And then, of course, Lucius Stanley, the transfer from UAB. That is a much, much needed aspect that Miami wasn't sure they were going to have, because going into the game heading into the game this week, we were looking at 1 scholarship running back in Thad, but Rooster practiced, Parrish practiced. They looked good, so we'll see.
By the way, Gaby Urrutia is reporting that 5-star wide receiver Hakeem Williams, a recent Florida State commit, he just posted it, and he told us that he was there. So there you go. So
heard it here first.
You'll get breaking news while it's going on with Gaby during our pregame session, and then obviously you'll get them with Mike during the week also. To build that up too on the platform. All right, let's take a quick break. We are coming to you live from Walk-Ons in Kendall. Come on out here and join us, man. It's really easy on 90th and 162nd right off of Kendall Drive. You get off on Kendall Drive in the Turnpike, and you come west, and you'll be there in a couple minutes. Or if you're coming west, you can use Chrome Avenue and then come on down and turn on Kendall Drive, and we're just a couple minutes right off of Chrome Avenue right there. So many ways to get here, easy ways to get here. Come on out here and join us. Every Canes game now, let's make it a tradition. We're going to have a bunch of giveaways also next week. Edge Energy Drink is going to be here. We're going to get some other things involved with Canes wear and all kinds of stuff. So make sure you join us next week out here, man. We're going to have some fun. We're going to build this thing up. All right, let's take a quick break. Chad is running the program, baby. Give us a couple minutes here. We'll take a break right here on the Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show on the SportsTalk305 Network.
You're listening to Miami Hurricanes coverage live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the SportsTalk305 Network. This is the MyEdgeDrink.com Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show with Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Hey guys, this is Hayden Hurst, NFL tight end. I'm partnering today with Red Recover. We're going to run you guys through some drills. I started using Red Recover last year, my 4th year in the NFL. It just helps me on Mondays after games get my recovery process started, get back into the fold of the week, and get ready for the following Sunday. And if you want to recover like me, use Red Recover.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them.
With SolarWinds, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation.
Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the SportsTalk305 Network. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
We're back. We are back at Walk-Ons here in Kendall. Come on out here and join us, baby. I am surprised with Kansas. I got to say, I'm impressed. 5-0. And they're hanging in there with TCU.
Have you seen the top 25 and the amount of quote-unquote basketball schools are in there? Kentucky.
Yep.
Is UNC ranked? They're not ranked. UNC is not ranked. Kentucky, Kansas. Who else? It's just like, damn it.
Yeah. It's because now everybody can recruit. Mm-hmm. You don't have to sit behind somebody anymore. You can go you're going to get drafted if you're in Richmond or you're in Oklahoma. It doesn't really matter. And so if you have an opportunity to play. They will find you. And so that's why you're seeing all of that. Tennessee is another one of those clubs that is, one of those programs that's been down like Miami. And, buddy, they are growing and growing and growing in a big-time way. And when Tillman comes back, they're going to be rolling, dude. And it looks like they figured that one out. But TCU at 17, Kansas at 19, Mississippi at 23, Cincinnati at 24.
Another basketball school.
Yeah, Utah 11 and UCLA 18. It's a different type of top 25 nowadays. Mm-hmm. But again, look, Kentucky, man. Kentucky, a basketball school. They're 13. Wake Forest, a basketball school. They're 15, So, it's just one of those things that you've got that. If kids know now that if you go somewhere and you can shine, you're going to get drafted. It doesn't matter anymore. You don't have to go to Miami or Nebraska or Florida State or Texas, the traditional powers of the last 30 years. Now you could just go anywhere and you're going to get, recruited, and you're going to get, hell, you just go play for Dion.
I was watching this
at Jackson State.
And you want to know what? Dion is a smart guy, man. I think he's building himself up because, let's be honest, if Jackson State's looking good, Dion's not going to be there for long. And I'm not saying he's going to go and coach FSU right away. I think he needs to go cut his teeth a little bit more, maybe another big-time program before. But his goal is FSU. His goal is to be the coach at FSU.
Yeah, but I thought the Norville thing was a joke, and he's actually looking better now.
He's looking better. But we'll see. They're running into they're kind of the part in the schedule where it's kind of a gauntlet. You saw what happened last week at home, or I forgot where they played Wake Forest, but they lost that game, contested game. But I wanted to go back to your point about how you were talking about how guys, can go anywhere and look good. Hendon Hooker, who's leading Tennessee's explosive offense, is a Virginia Tech transfer. Did not look good there. And look at him now. He switched the page or flipped the page, and he's over beating up on LSU 37-7 right now. Kid has 231 passing yards so far on the day, and they're not even into the fourth quarter yet.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns, and he's one of the finest looking quarterbacks so far through 4 games in the country. But just transfers all over the place. I mean, it's nothing new. It's been that way for a while, but it just goes to show. I love parity, but I hate it at the same time. I'm one of those guys that likes to see the Oklahomas, the Miamis, the USCs, the Alabamas, Penn State, so on and so forth. But, these schools are coming up, and most of the time, you look at a team like, let's say, I don't know, Wisconsin or Iowa. Those teams are normally good every 4 years, every 3 or 4 years, because they have guys that stick around.
Right.
They have seniors that stick around 3-4 years, 5 years even, and then they lose that class, and it's back to. But they also have something that's very important. They have continuity in the staff.
Yeah.
Right. And there's Kirk Ferentz over at Iowa, things like that. And Miami hasn't had that. We'll see if that changes now in the crystal ball era.
Yeah, it better change, because if not, you're not going to turn it around. That's why I mentioned Tennessee, because Tennessee's a former power. And, like Nebraska, like USC, like Texas, there's several that are trying to get back to it, right? And you're looking at Tennessee, and maybe, just maybe, they finally got the right coach. And now he's turning things around there in Tennessee. They are looking really good, dude. They're about to go 5-0. They are kicking LSU's ass today, 37-7. And they're not even a full tilt yet. Because like I said, when they get Tillman back, that'll be just another weapon, and that'll be just absolutely sick. So Tennessee's impressive, and that's kind of the thing, that Miami's kind of in that same rut. So is Florida State, by the way. And they all got to try to find a way to get back to being a great program again. But because of parity, it's become that much harder to do it. But once you get over that hump, then you can keep it going and keep the ball rolling. And that's exactly what Mario has to do right now. He has to keep fighting until he can get that get over the hump. And then the recruits will continue to then flow in.
Right.
Like, Kirby did it with Georgia. He had to go there, and Georgia had a problem because they couldn't find anybody to beat Saban. So now they got one of Saban's disciples.
Right.
And Saban's disciples has now kind of built up his staff, built up his recruiting. And so now Georgia has got it rolling right now with recruiting. And so they've got, they got over that hump. And that's kind of exactly what needs to happen here. Until you get over that hump, you're not going to convince kids. You're not going to keep your kids. You're not going to keep loyalty, by the way, that you were talking about with the staff or the players.
And I mean, it's kind of like starting a business. What do they say? The first year or 2 years, it's like no profit, you're losing money, things like that. So, you're going to take some L's. Miami took a major one in what many consider to be the worst loss in program history 2 weeks ago against Middle Tennessee State. So, getting over the hump. But you want to know what's different? What I think is different. Let me emphasize, think is different between this staff and previous regimes is. They're still demanding, even though they haven't shown it on the field. They're demanding, and what I mean by that, they're demanding in the sense of on the recruiting trail. All right, it's like, look, this is what it is. They have a plan. I'll show you my plan. This is exactly how we plan to use you. This is exactly the type of education you can expect at Miami. But they're demanding in the sense that if you're going to commit here, you're going to commit here. All right, because if you're going to still be looking, then you're damn sure I'm still going to be looking as a coach and as a staff. And Mario makes that clear. He hides nothing about that, makes no bones about it, and you got to respect that. And look at his track record. It's worked. The Kayvon Thibodeaux of the world. He went top 5 to the Giants. The Javon Holland, like you said, second-year guy already, one of the leaders on the team. And, the offensive lineman that plays for the Lions right now, he was a top 5 or top 3 pick. So it starts, and like you said, once you get over that hump, it's just – where you got to start small, man, and the Coastals is where you got to start.
Oh yeah, no, of course. And listen, we thought that's the other thing about this season. We kind of got fooled because we thought that with Mario, you'd have enough talent to win the Coastal at least. And Mario doesn't have enough talent to win the Coastal. And either that or it's got to be some of the best coaching he's ever done in his life. And I got to also say, one of the things with Mario that I have been disappointed is his assistants. I have not been impressed with Josh Gaddis. I got to tell you, Mike, I'm not impressed with Josh Gaddis at all. I mean, that one's still, the jury is out, as they say. I'm not saying it's a bad hire or it's a terrible hire or fire him or anything like that. But so far, he's one of the coaches that I am concerned about. And that if I'm Mario, that's one of those guys that I'm kind of thinking, yeah, you might be on double secret probation next year.
And I get why you say that because, with the hype and the hoopla and all of this, hiring the Broyles Award winner, and look how Michigan's offense looked last year, and they still look good without him. So, I get that. And one of the things that Josh Gaddis, the thing behind him, one of the big things behind him was that he uses his talents and whatever. He's not trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, and he loves tight ends and this and that. But when you have a team that you want to build your system around, right? But they're just used to so many stupid, like what is ingrained in these guys' heads? What has been programmed in them for the past 4 or 5, however long they've been there? Bad coaching. It's got to be tough to overcome that. I'm assuming, like I said, I've never called a play a day in my life in any level of football, but even still, like, Manny didn't leave the cupboard completely bare, okay? Because Manny, I don't think he saw a class outside of the top 25 while he was head coach, if I'm not mistaken. Doesn't take all talent. It is pretty much between the ears for any sport. You can look great, but you got to have the want to. But what I'm trying to get at is I get where you're saying that about Gaddis, but this is where coaching comes into play. Okay, if this isn't working, then we got to do something else. And that whole thing about how long of a leash TVD has or does not have doesn't apply to just that position. All right. If Ivy isn't getting it done, if Flag isn't getting it done, what happens if the backup's going and they don't get it done? How often do you play, how often do you seesaw between guys until you find some type of consistency? It's tough. And on Gaddis, if you have a line that isn't looking good and receivers that aren't dropping passes, I mean, it's a plethora of things that you just kind of get on the same page with everybody. And so hopefully there's a new start today at 4 o'clock.
Let's hope so. Let's see if they can get it done because they've got a lot of adjustments to make. As somebody said, I don't expect much from this game, but I want to see what the coaches do. And you look at the chat board. In general, people are a little nervous about this game.
Nervous.
I think we all should. I think at this point, I'd be playing the blind ass fan alert for you if you're coming out here going, "Oh yeah, no, the Canes are going to be awesome today. They're going to respond and they're going to play great and they're going to beat North Carolina." And I'll be playing the blind ass fan alert for you if you don't want to face the reality. And yes, this is just one of those games that you have to look at and you have to say, not a good matchup. Not a good matchup because of that offense and Miami secondary. That is something that you have to fear. This is one of those games that this is part of a rough season that is going to test the coaching staff, test the players, and there is one positive out of all this crap. I got to tell you, there's one positive. By the end of the season, Mario and his staff are going to know which are the guys that are going to be real pros.
The Miami guys?
Right, through thick and thin, and that they played hard. They never gave up. Their effort was there. This is the kind of season that will test the character. You're going to find out the guys you really want to keep, and then the guys that, we've got to part ways with this guy. You know what I mean? And that will be the only real positive out of all of this. Is that's, it allows you to decipher what you want and what you don't want on the team.
And that's coming off of, it's one of these three numbers, and I don't know which one. It's either 13, 15, or 17 transfers that departed from the program in the spring. That's coming off of that. So you're right. There's going to be more guys that's, you know what, I've seen a year. You can stay on this roster, but you're either not going to get a lot of playing time, or you can go ahead and choose to find another home, which will be good for both situations. A kid that needs to play and it frees up a scholarship for a guy that I want on my team if you're Mario. But going back to the matchup and how you were talking about, it may not be a good matchup secondary-wise for the Canes. And we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I want to go ahead and talk about another tweet that Pro Football Focus put out earlier in the week. Highest graded quarterbacks on 3rd and 4th down so far throughout the season. CJ Stroud leads the nation, 94.7. Guess who's second? Our very own Drake May, 93.3 grading on 3rd and 4th down. Second amongst all quarterbacks.
He's
in
a
the
freshman
nation.
too, bro. He's an ass-kicking freshman. And by the way, he's also a North Carolina kid.
Yes, he's a North Carolina kid. So it's nice to see, guys like that stay home, and that's what Miami's trying to do now. But Miami's got to get home on the pass rush, man. And if they don't, that's gonna add to another. That's gonna be another reason for a long day. But let's say miraculously, what's another way to get to the quarterback is if your secondary plays well and you have what you call a coverage sack. I don't know how often that's going to happen. They being North Carolina, not only have a good quarterback, but a good system, good receivers. And I don't think that they're going to – Mac Brown's going to be – is one of those guys that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if he sees that, okay, I'm getting away with this, just like he did 2 years ago. He kept running the same play. I'm telling you, it was the same play. Whoever's listening right now that was at that UNC game that they ran for north of 500, 600 yards, they kept running the same play. And there was no adjustments made. The ends were crashing in instead of trying to set the edge, and it was disgusting to watch. So it's going to be the same thing. If he sees that something's working, whether it be in the air or on the ground, expect that North Carolina offense to keep at it. But North Carolina's defense isn't all that, and that's something that's encouraging for Miami.
Yeah, no, that's actually the saving grace. If you can get your offense going, this is the kind of defense that you can score on. All right, let me tell you a little bit about Walk-Ons. We're out here 9065 Southwest 162nd Avenue. Now, let me tell you something. This location is the only location in South Florida. I've been coming to this one for a little over a year now since it opened. Maybe it's 2 years already that they're open, right? Just about. And from the mozzarella logs, they're not mozzarella sticks. They're mozzarella logs. Okay? They are absolutely delicious, man. The food here is awesome. The redfish ruby is my favorite dish here. You got to try the gator bites also, the Tuscan chicken. The Cajun Diaz also they've got here. When it comes to Walk-Ons, their food is amazing. They've got wraps, they've got salads, tacos, hand patted burgers. Their burgers, by the way, are delicious. My wife loves the burgers here. I have the burgers here all the time. They got po' boys too. Mm-hmm. So if you want a little po' boy action, rib po' boy, a catfish po' boy, a boom boom shrimp po' boy, wow. They've got it all for you out here, man. Turkey and Swiss, you name it. How about this? The mahi and mango. Grilled mahi, sweet chilled glazed mango salsa, Louisiana street corn, and rice is so good. I'm telling you, the Bayou pasta, which is crawfish, cream sauce, fried shrimp, linguine. The menu is second to none. You're going to absolutely love it. So this is our new home for our pre- and post-game shows. So come on out here to Walk-Ons and check it out. Check out the food. And we'll be out here 2 hours prior to every Canes game and 2 hours post every Canes game. So when the game ends, we come on right away, and we're on for another 2 hours. So come on out here. I'd love to hang out with you. Meet you during the game. We'll talk, take pictures, whatever. Love to meet you. So come on out to Walk-Ons next week. Big week, man. We're going to start having some giveaways and stuff like that. So we're going to have a great time out here at Walk-Ons in Kendall. 9065 Southwest 167th Avenue. Come on out here to Walk-Ons. All right, let's take a quick break. 1 hour down. We got one more to go. We get ready for the 4 o'clock kickoff. And by the way, at 3:15, Tommy Ashley is going to join us from InsideCarolina.com. We'll get a preview. We'll talk about Drake May, the Huntersville, North Carolina native. So we'll talk about the monster that the that the Miami Hurricanes are facing today. You know what? When we come back, we'll get into this UNC offense and its potency. It's ugly. It's ugly for the Canes. We'll talk about that in hour number 2. We got Chad driving the program, Mike McCoy by my side. I'm Orlando Alzugaray. It is hour number 2 coming up on the Miami Hurricanes pregame show, or shall I say the Edge Energy Drink Miami pregame show, live from Walk-Ons in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
You're listening to Miami Hurricanes coverage live from Walk-On Sports Beat. You're listening to Miami Hurricanes coverage live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network. This is the MyEdgeDrink.com Miami Hurricanes pregame show with Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Red Recover now offers a simple-to-use, professional-grade light therapy device designed to help your dog heal and live a healthier life. Red Recover emits red and infrared light therapy based on the same science that NASA developed, all in a soft, flexible housing pad powered by a convenient, rechargeable lithium-ion battery. Give your dog the same therapy that many veterinarians use today, but at a fraction of the cost. Pads are available in 3 sizes and come with attachment straps, clips, and an easy-to-use manual. Red Recover can help your dog with arthritic conditions, muscle soreness, intervertebral disc disease, ACL rehabilitation, performance, aging, and general health and happiness. You simply place the pad over the desired area and allow our proprietary Tri-Light therapeutic wrap to penetrate deep into the tissue where a number of healing parameters will be stimulated. When starting treatment, apply for 10 to 15 minutes daily and lessen the application time as needed for best results. Say yes to science and give your dog the care it deserves with Red Recover.
Why is it that you get locked out in the worst moments of your life?
Where are my car keys? Man, I can't find my house keys.
In those frustrating moments, you need a locksmith you can count on. A. Lenny Locksmiths in South Florida, from Miami to Port St. Lucie. In Central Florida, A. Lenny locks it down in Orlando and Tampa Bay. Lockouts or lock changes for home or business, car key replacements, and programming all model cars. 24-hour service. Call them at 855-869-5625. Go to the website at alennylocksmith.com.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks, eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated, they offer free 30-day storage, full-service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes pregame show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Back to beautiful Walk-Ons in Kendall. Come on out and join us, man. Join us for every Canes game. Let's make it a tradition from here on out. Let's have some fun every week. I promise you next week we're going to have a blast because we're going to bring some freebies, some prizes, some giveaways. So come on out and join us out here at Walk-Ons in Kendall for all of the Canes games. And remember, our broadcast will start off 2 hours prior to kickoff, and then we'll end 2 hours after kickoff. And we will start right away. The second the game ends, that's when the post game goes on the air. We'll have Mario Cristobal's press conference. We'll also hear from Manny Navarro in the locker rooms, so we'll get his reaction. So you get Gaby in pregame, you get Manny in the postgame, and we'll be working on adding more elements to the broadcast to get Canes fans ready for this one. Now, as we work our way to Tommy Ashley, who's going to join us from InsideCarolina.com, just looking at Drake May, 6'4", 220. This year, 1,594 yards, 19 touchdowns, 1 interception, a 90.6 QBR. Well, just so you can compare, Tyler, 1594 to 809, 19 touchdowns to 4, 1 interception to 3, 41.3 QBR to 90.6. That's how much better Drake May is right now than and listen, it's not only that. You look at Drake May, the rusher, and Drake May, the rusher, is 52 rushes, 255 yards. He is getting 4.9 yards a carry. This is a dangerous man. You know, Manny Navarro this week said he's kind of like Josh Allen in a way. Big dude that can run and throw the ball at the same time. Difference is Josh Allen wasn't accurate when he was young.
No.
This guy is.
He's a freshman, like you said.
Oh, God.
So, what helps make for a good offense and a consistent quarterback and a guy that you can rely on? The parts around him, right? Don't get me wrong. We've seen quarterbacks be great without so many weapons around them. But Drake May is being helped big time by an offensive line that is beyond experienced. 2 grad transfers on the offensive line, one of them being former Hurricanes center Corey Gaynor, okay? The right tackle is also a grad transfer in Spencer Rowland. But get this, Big O. Asim Richards, senior, left tackle. Ed Montelis, left guard, redshirt senior, all right? And then the right guard, a redshirt senior as well, William Barnes. Do you know how much experience that is? And guys that have played together and know how to pick. There's not many ways you could surprise this guy. And I get it. I love our defensive coordinator, Miami's defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele, okay?
Yes.
He's seen everything when it comes to formations, and nothing almost surprises him. So it's gonna be a nice chess match between.
Well, does he have enough weapons to match the offense? That's the problem.
Miami definitely has the interchangeable guys. It's about mixing them up and finding the right combination.
Well, but I don't think they do, because I don't think they have the secondary. It creates an imbalance for Kevin. Because you don't have the secondary, it then changes how you rush.
Changes how you call the game.
Yeah. And so he's at it's kind of like, as much as I'm not happy with Gaddis at times, it's what you've mentioned. If receivers are dropping passes, that's also not Gaddis's fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, but here's the other thing that helps him. Okay. Brian Nesbitt is a big ass tight end, 6'5". He's got 3 touchdowns. He's got 14 catches for 237 yards. And then they've got another kid from Florida, by the way, from Buck Lake, Florida. His name is Kamari Morales, who's also got 3 touchdowns. Okay, 6'3", 6'2", 245 pounds. So he's got some big playmakers at the tight end spot, giving him big targets. And then his receivers are making plays, dude. Josh Downs, he's got 4 TDs already, 22 catches, 230 yards. You look at the Pacehour kid. He's 6'1", 185, 16 for 179 and 2 touchdowns. So he also has playmakers that are helping him out at the wide receiver and at the tight end spot. And then Omarion Hampton has done a really nice job. And when you have, and as you know, Mikey, and everybody out there, I'm not breaking any news. When you've got a running quarterback, it really helps your running game and your running back, because you just don't know who's got the ball at times. So Omarion Hampton is averaging 5.2 yards per carry, Mike. 56 rushes, 293 yards, and he's got 5 touchdowns and another North Carolina native from Clayton. So there's a lot of balance on this offense. It's not just the line, it's the weapons. And so you throw in a smart freshman, holy crap, that's it. Yeah. It's over. Yeah. Reminds me a lot of Bernie Kosar when I was young watching Bernie, and Bernie comes in as a redshirt sophomore, I think it was, and he led them to the title, or a freshman, I forgot what it was. And he was really smart, but he was also surrounded by a really good team. So you add the smart quarterback with the good team around him. And here's the other thing, Mac Brown. Dude, you just lost a bunch of people to the NFL, and you've done a really nice job of transitioning over. You lost one of the better quarterbacks in the league,
right,
in college football, period. Right. And you come up with this kid?
So everybody, and it's funny how things work, because, the expectation out of a lot of Miami fans was, oh, man, Clemson. Oh, I don't know. Clemson won 10 games last year. UNC lost a lot. Oh, I don't know. Look at the product on the field right now. So it's everybody talks about rebuilding, reloading. Doesn't this, that, and the third. But Drake May clearly does not have a favorite player. Okay, you just talked about two tight ends with 3 touchdowns, Josh Downs with 4, a running back that is carrying damn near 5-6 yards a carry. And oh, by the way, he's a smart quarterback who could run and throw. So, like you said, balance to the tune of 290. Let's call it 300. Actually, no, yeah, it's yards per game, 257 yards per game. All right, that North Carolina's doing in the air. And how about this? 193 yards per game on the ground, Big O.
Yeah.
Miami's defense has his hands full. And, oh, by the way, 33.6 points per game. So, you add all of that up, and you're talking about 450 yards of offense a game. Yeah. Where do you attack? How do you attack? You probably know how to attack these guys, but it's about, getting it done. And what I'm going to be looking for is who is on the field when it's third and obvious. And for anybody that's been listening to my show on Tuesdays or my tweets throughout the week, I'm a fan of Corey Flagg. I'm a fan of him, but I am not a fan of him.
Well, he's not consistent. That's what it is. It frustrates you.
It's frustrating, but I'm not a fan of him when it comes to third and obvious passing downs, because not that you're a bad linebacker, but it's okay to be off the field when you have guys on your team that can do that better than you.
Yeah,
right?
He's a 2-down linebacker.
He's a 2-down linebacker. He'd be great if this was 20 years ago, but that's not the case. In open spaces, that's not his forte, and that's okay. So I'm looking to see whether you bring James Williams down in the box or maybe Wesley Basaint, who's a freshman from, we talked about Central with Gaby Urrutia, in the segment prior, a guy that can move well in space, a guy that can cover, or even a Chase Smith, whose dad played here, a legacy kid. That's a long, rangy, speedy linebacker. Let me see that. So I personally am expecting a lot of lineup changes. Doesn't have to be in the starting lineup, but it's about who gets snaps when they need them. So that's what I'm expecting to see on both sides of the ball for Miami. And they're going to need that. They're going to need to find the right combination to combat a North Carolina offense that hits you from everywhere.
Yep, I'm with you there. This is going to be one hell of a challenge for the University of Miami. I don't know really how they end up overcoming all of this today, to be honest with you, because this North Carolina offense, I'm so impressed that Mac Brown has been able to turn over his talent that quickly.
Yeah.
It's really, 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 really impressive, man. I got to give him a ton of credit. By the way, CuttersEdgePro.com, a proud sponsor of our program. If you're looking for your full landscape solutions, and I'm talking about outdoor lighting, irrigation, artificial grass, and the artificial grass for us with several dogs, I got to tell you, it is the greatest thing out there. You will love it. And when it comes to Cutter's Edge, total landscape solution. They do lawn and landscape maintenance for medium to large, condominiums, corporate parks, large commercial buildings, complexes. They do it all in Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach counties. Folks, if you're also looking to maybe clear up your yard because you've got some trees that are close to power lines or the roof, don't go taking chances. Call the pros at CutterEdgePro.com. Tell them that Big O sent you. Call William and Mike, and they will take care of you. 954-472-0622. Dade, Broward, or Palm Beach counties. William or Mike, I'm telling you, they will take care of you. 954-472-0622. Go to the website, CuttersEdgePro.com. All right. Let's get to it. Let's get a preview of this North Carolina team. Tommy Ashley. Let's bring him aboard. You can follow him on Twitter at TAshleyIC. And, of course, his deal, InsideCarolina.com. He's also got the Game Plan podcast. He's kind enough to join us now on the program. Tommy, how you doing, baby? You doing all right?
I'm doing well. How are you guys? Appreciate you having me.
It's our pleasure. Although I got to tell you, I was just talking about this while you were there on in the bullpen getting ready to come on, and I'm impressed with what Mac has done to be able to lose what he just lost in North Carolina, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and for this team to be this good this quickly, this is really impressive on their part.
Yeah, and it speaks to a lot, not only to Mac to be able to recruit, but also to Phil Longo. I mean, Phil Longo's system has worked everywhere he's been, and he comes to North Carolina, and it catches on. Now, a couple of years ago, you guys remember Javonte Williams and Michael Carter in this game specifically.
Yes, we did.
and what they were able to do. And then Sam Howell was at the time the greatest quarterback that had played at North Carolina. And Sam leaves, goes to the Commanders, and one of our experts at Inside Carolina, Jason Staples, said, I think Drake May is going to be better. And people said, you're ridiculous, man. Come on. Sam Howell just threw, should have rushed. You take away sack yardage, rushed for 1,000 yards, threw for 3,500 yards or whatever it was last year. And Jason was right. Drake has come in and just torn it up. I mean, comes from a great family of athletes. Luke May, the basketball player, is one of the older brothers, national champion at Florida in baseball. His other older brother walked on to the basketball team and is playing there currently. So and his dad played at Carolina. Great lineage, but the dude's a competitor, and he's a fiery competitor. And he does something that Sam Howell was not able to do or didn't do, I think, and that's lead, not only by example, but with his words. And nobody on this team, on his entire roster, doubts how much in he is for North Carolina. And then you just tack on the production that he's able to put out there. I mean, he's getting some Heisman hype. I don't want to see too much hype, but I mean, let's look at it. The numbers are ridiculous for Drake May, and it's pretty special to watch.
Thanks for joining us, Tommy. I wanted to ask you kind of on that same thing with Drake. What is his best attribute? Because, I mean, I know you talked about his leadership right now, but looking at how he spreads the ball around, 2 tight ends, 3 touchdowns. Josh Down has 4, and then that's helped by a running back that's damn near averaging 5-6 yards a carry. So in terms of on-field production, what seems to be his best quality leading his offense?
Well, one thing he does, and this was a knock on Sam Howell going into the draft, right? Phil Longo's offense, all we heard was a one-read offense, and you either go to your first read or you run it. Well, Drake's shown the way he's able to distribute the football that it's much more complex. And Drake, maybe he's 6'5", he can see over the line better than Howell could, but he throws it around. Last year, it was either Josh Downs or bust for Sam Howell, and there's some guys on that roster that were good that just didn't get the touches. Drake's ability to see the field and get it to the open jersey. Everybody talks about, trying to force the ball to a player. And we've seen teams try to do that, and you get in trouble. Drake will throw it to anybody and everybody if you're open, and you've seen that with the tight ends. Josh Downs is having a good year. They got Antoine Green back against Notre Dame and promptly caught 3 balls for 150 and 2 long touchdowns. So May's ability to see the field, process, go through his progressions is elite. But what's the killer? And we'll see how it plays out today, is his ability to just hurt you with his feet. Kevin Steele, I listened to his post-game or his earlier in the week, and it can be 3rd and 6 for Carolina. Mayo scramble for 7. 3rd and 11, he scrambles for 12. And those things right there, you guys know. If you're a defense, if you're on defense and the quarterback's doing that to you, that's worse than beating you deep and for the mindset. So he's just got the total package. He's still young. He's only got 5 games in. But if he progresses, man, we're talking about a guy that could be special one day.
Tommy Ashley from InsideCarolina.com. He covers the Tar Heels on a daily basis. You can follow him on Twitter at TAshleyIC. And I got to say, Tommy, the other thing, while Mac has got, an incredible resume, I did not expect this when he went to North Carolina, man. I thought it was a guy kind of hanging on to coaching and close to retirement, got 1 foot out the door, but, enjoy a little check or two. And he has revitalized that program. He connects with kids. His dancing videos are a trip. I just see a man that has that is, he's not there for the ride. He's there to really make a real difference. Are you surprised that it's gone this well for him there at North Carolina?
Not really. When we were talking about because we can debate how well it's actually gone, right? That's what's the interesting dynamic is Carolina fans will tell you, no, they've done well. They've done a lot better than they did in the late Fedora years. But when it was obvious Larry Fedora was on his way out, everybody was talking about, well, who's next at Carolina? And I said it was back in Fedora's last season that Mack Brown, who else other than Mack Brown can come in, be what Carolina needs, replenish the talent level. That's the thing, right? They have replenished the talent level to an extreme amount. And what you mentioned there about connecting with the kids. I mean, Mac, when he was here the first time, obviously he left and folks were upset, but they were really, really good and he recruited really well. Goes to Texas, and we can debate, how good he was at Texas, but the numbers speak for themselves. And until this year, Texas got what they deserved a little bit running Mac out of town there. So Mac comes back to Carolina.
Was it more, by the way, was it more the Blake situation at Carolina that really kind of muddied the water, shall I say?
You talking about John Blake back under Butch? That was a bad time for North Carolina.
All that stuff, but didn't it roll? Did it roll in to Mac's tenure a little bit?
No, Mac was gone. Mac left in 97, 98, and then Blake came in with Butch Davis, back in 06, 07. So all that was kind of, but that is what sort of for Carolina fans sort of made it troubling for the football team and the football program. And Larry Fedora came in. Look, he came in under the NCAA blanket. We know what everybody thinks of the NCAA, but whatever you think, that was a problem for North Carolina. Fedora did what he had to do, but Mac came in, and Mac's like the savior. He's the guy. He's the one guy that is universally loved. And to be honest, those first 2 years, and then go to the Orange Bowl, play Texas A&M. If they had a couple more players, they would have beaten Texas A&M. But then last year was sort of a road bump or a bump in the road, right? 6 and 7. He's had Miami's number, but he hasn't had teams like Georgia Tech's number or Florida State's number.
I got you.
And so this year, you have to come in and you have to play well, and you have to have a winning team. And Mac's been more feisty this year than I've seen him at Carolina. You mentioned come in, draw some checks, and it looked like that at times in the first 3 years, right? It just not happy to be here, but not going to let losses wear you out like he may have done at Texas. And so this year he enjoys the wins more. He'll say that. But he's been fired up the last couple of weeks, especially the way the defense has played. And so this game here, I think, is huge for Mac's second go-round here, where this program is going to go. I mean, is it going to stay, a 7-8 win team, or is it going to be more than that? He's certainly got the weapons on offense to do what he wants. But game management is an issue a little bit. But program CEO, there's not many better than he is.
Well, if North Carolina fans are gonna argue or complain, remind them of this, or just bring up this small point and why I'm so nervous about this game. Let's start looking at what's gone on in North Carolina the last couple of years and look at Miami. So let's see, is Miami quarterbacks going to the NFL or North Carolina? Are Miami's running backs going to the NFL or North Carolina's? I'm starting to see Mac get more players that are going to the NFL than Miami is.
Yep.
So, it's and I'm looking at their quarterback right now. He looks better than the guy, and Tyler came in with all the hype, but unfortunately the change of the systems has kind of really hurt the young man, and he hasn't been able to kind of adjust with that. And so that's been kind of a tough one. But it's funny, you start looking at North Carolina and you look at Miami and you're going, well, wait a minute here. The last couple of years, North Carolina's putting in more guys in the NFL than Miami is.
Yeah, I mean, look, talent is not the issue at North Carolina. He recruits. You talking about having somebody that can come into living rooms and sit down and talk to guys and make them believe that you're coming into North Carolina. And let's be honest, North Carolina, maybe I'm jaded a little bit. I mean, I'm right here at campus. It's a pretty cool place to go to school.
Oh, yeah.
But Mac has the ability to sell it to everybody. And the only thing that's missing is to take that next step here with the football program. He did it when he was here the first time. They were 10-2 and then 11-1. And then he went to Texas. That's what he's trying to do now. And A lot has changed in the last 20-some years with kids, with parents, with all that stuff. But Mack Brown hasn't changed in that ability. And you get talent and you develop talent, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and they go to the NFL, then what's the next guy? If you're a high school kid, what do you look at? You say, oh, wait a minute. Drake May was committed to Alabama. We know what Alabama does. And he said, well, maybe I'll go to Carolina and I can do the same thing. And Max made that be a reality for these players. It needs to translate on the field in a game like today. It needs to translate overall, but without question, the man can sell it. And when you start running people to the NFL, it can only go up. It can only get better. And you mentioned Tyler Van Dyke, and I want to ask you guys this, and I don't mean to flip it, but Van Dyke was fantastic last year. And he torched Carolina. Carolina held on by a thread to win that game. And then this year with Josh Gaddis, who is a local product here from Northern Durham High School, comes in, and Van Dyke looks like just a completely different player. That is what the difference has been for Carolina, is the quarterback play, and why you guys are a little down on Miami and why Carolina fans are up on North Carolina is because of the quarterbacks, because that's what it is all about in college football.
Amen.
Tommy, really quick, man. We've touched a lot, and this is before you joined the show. And again, thanks for coming on. We've been talking a lot of North Carolina's offense and how explosive and everything that they are. The defense hasn't been as consistent as the offense so far through 5 games. So I'm just trying to ask you, what is it that the coaching staff has been trying to work on coming into this game? I know that as a team, they're yielding 450 a game, 257 in the air, and 193 on the ground. Is it a mix of, injuries, young players, or what's the case? They haven't been able to find the right combination. And for Miami, who has most of their running back core back today, the fear for Miami was that they'd only enter the game with 1 scholarship running back. That's not the case anymore. Rooster, Henry Parrish is playing. Thad Franklin is playing. So before, Miami went into this tailspin 2-game losing streak, the strength of their offense was kind of running the ball. Can you talk about what to expect from North Carolina's defense heading into the game today?
Well, I mean, I said it on another podcast down that way. It's not talent on Carolina's defense. They are a talented bunch, especially on the defensive line. I think, they changed some of the defensive staff over the season, from last season, and Gene Chizik came in. And it's a different style of defense. He's more the bend, don't break, for lack of a better way of putting it. He wants you to have to drive all the way down the field, and you're going to make a mistake in college. It wasn't like that with the last staff. But the bottom line is they just haven't put it together between the ears, I think, for Carolina's defensive front specifically. And they had a team meeting. They've had some issues, guys quarreling and spats on the field and all, and against Notre Dame. You play Notre Dame, people can say what they want about Notre Dame, but those boys are big and tough up front on both sides of the ball, and they pushed Carolina around. And so after that game, they got together and they said, look, we're not playing like we were supposed to. We got to get it together. And so I think buy-in has been the issue. I compared Carolina on the defense to Miami at times over the years where the talent was there, but for whatever reason, the talent didn't produce like it should have. And, Virginia Tech was a get-right game for this defense, but I think we can agree, and you guys will see, I guess, next week, that Virginia Tech's not any good. But confidence is a big thing in college football. And if you believe you can do it, generally you probably can. And so I think for Carolina, stopping those guys, you mentioned the running backs getting healthy. Every team's had success running the ball against Carolina except Virginia Tech. And that includes Florida A&M didn't really, but Notre Dame mashed them. App State, I mean, good gracious, 40 points in a quarter. And I was there sitting in the end zone watching that game, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. So not a talent issue, maybe not really a scheme issue, but a buy-in issue. And this game for me covering Carolina and for a lot of people up here will be a tell as to have they figured it out between the ears to get it done, because I think Miami's got some weapons, but some of those weapons might play into some of the Carolina strengths if Carolina plays well. The numbers are not kind, though. You're right.
Yeah, Tommy Ashley from InsideCarolina.com. Tommy, can you explain to me what Vegas knows that I don't? Because Miami is favored by 3.5 in this game, and I don't believe Miami is the better team. Miami secondary is probably the worst secondary I've ever seen, and I'm 56 years old, so I've been watching UM for a long, long time. So I don't know. Do you see it the same way out there in North Carolina? Were you scratching your head that Miami was favored by 3.5?
What's the line they usually give for home field? Is it 3? So it's virtually a pick'em game. I will tell you this.
I don't see them as pick'em.
No, yeah,
I don't see them as pick'em.
It has been interesting reading the message boards that cover Miami. Listen to the fan bases are very similar, right? They don't believe in their own team as much. Vegas seems to know for whatever reason, but if I'm betting, what's the over? 66? I'm taking something like that.
Yes, 66, yes.
One thing I've learned covering Carolina, being a Carolina person my entire life, is I'm not betting on any line. Unless it's NC State game, I'm not betting on any line when Carolina's involved, and certainly not on the road going down there. So, I just 3.5 seems a bit much, but it's not surprising given that Carolina's been pretty brutal against those things over the years. But yeah, the one lock I think today, and I'll probably be wrong, is I'd hammer that over all day of the week down there in Miami Gardens.
That makes a lot of sense. You got one more, Mikey?
I'm good.
All right. Tommy. All right. So what's the prediction, Tommy? What do you think today? What happens today?
We just wrapped the Inside Carolina Live show here on our pregame from 1 to 3. I've got Carolina winning, but I can be talked out of it. I had it 40. I think I had it 42-36 Carolina. I just think until last week, and I'll give y'all guys this stat, and maybe y'all don't know it or maybe you've heard it. Until last week, every quarterback playing against North Carolina this year has put up a Heisman level number in quarterback rating and everything. And that includes Florida A&M. That includes the App State quarterback. That includes the Georgia State quarterback, who was awful until they played Carolina and is awful now. And, of course, Drew Pine for Notre Dame went nuts as well. That is the concern. Tyler Van Dyke, I remember what he did against North Carolina last year. And so my concern is in that realm. I think if Cristobal wants to try to bang the ball and run it all day, I like Carolina's chances even more. But if Van Dyke gets hot, then it could be an interesting story. The question is, and we talked about this.
Is Charleston Rambo coming back?
Yeah. And Restrepo's out, right? So he's still on crutches. But, that's the PTSD for North Carolina fans right there, is the numbers that other quarterbacks have been able to put up. I think if Jake Garcia's in the game at some point for North Carolina, that's a good thing for if Miami has to go to him. But, I'll go 42-36 North Carolina. I don't know if that's popular down that way, but like I said, my predictions have not been good, and that's why I do not bet on the Tar Heels a ton.
Miami has a knack of making opposing quarterbacks. I mean, you said it. So the fan bases share similar sentiments. So, I mean, you saw the line for the MTSU game, and, Miami has another habit of making Vegas look bad.
Right.
So we'll see. But no predictions my way. I don't know what to expect. This is as close to Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde as you can get if you're going to pick a team in college football to represent that. And it's simple for Miami. Get off the field on third downs, which Drake May is awesome at keeping his offense on the field on third downs. He's right behind C.J. Stroud in terms of third and fourth down grades by PFF. But the other thing for Miami is I think that their best trait so far offensively is extending drives and keeping, because they're not quick strike how they were last year. They do. You watch that Texas A&M game, and they had the ball for 11 minutes in the fourth quarter. So as long as they can keep that Carolina offense off the field, I think that's Miami's best shot. They're going to have to run the ball. So we'll see. I don't have a prediction for you. I just have to throw that in there.
Come on, man. You got to get one.
Yeah, there's no fence straddling here.
I'll go Miami. I'll go Miami 31.
Homer.
UNC.
Homer.
UNC 41.
There you go.
It'll be a fun game to watch.
Tommy's like me. We're going against those people that build castles in Vegas. You know, they're usually smarter than all of us, but Tommy and I are going against the grain on this one. So yeah, I've got UNC winning this one overall, man. I just don't see how Miami wins this game with that secondary. It's been so atrocious. So I don't know about a score, but I'll go with North Carolina winning the game by 7. That's what I think.
Let me wrap and get out of here. I know you guys are busy, but has there ever been a game where the keys to the game are the exact same for both teams?
Yeah.
I mean, stop the run, run the ball. Yeah. Stop the run the ball. Secondary is a struggle, but I mean, it's unbelievable. The kicker is, in college football.
Although I can count on North Carolina's offense more than Miami's right now.
There you go. And why is that?
Whereas both the defenses are an Achilles heel right now, especially the secondary for Miami. The one thing that's the only reason why I fear the hell out of this game, because North Carolina's offense is humming. Yep. Okay, maybe their defense isn't, but nothing of Miami is humming. Not offense and not defense. And that's why I have to lean the Tar Heels. I hate it, but I have to lean it.
College football is geared around quarterbacks. And you always pick if you're undecided, you always take the team that's got the better quarterback. And I think today North Carolina's got that.
Amen. Tommy, thank you for taking some time. Great insight on the Tar Heels, my friend. Enjoy the game. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate y'all having me, and y'all take care. Be safe down there, and hopefully we'll talk again, and we're talking about my prediction came through. Oh, well, y'all's prediction too. So
you got it.
Take care, boys.
Be good. Tommy Ashley, baby. T Ashley IC on Twitter. You can check them out at InsideCarolina.com, and also check out the podcast, the Game Plan Podcast, for those of you that are in Tar Heel country and you love your Tar Heels. Appreciate all of you out there. As always, Mike McCoy, Big O with you. We're going to take you right up to kickoff, right at 4 o'clock. That's when they take over, and that's when you will get to watch the game and then come back to us for the post-game show. Do want to tell you about myedgedrink.com, the finest energy drink on the planet, folks. You can only get it online. Go to myedgedrink.com. Use the code Big O. You will get 10% off. All right? Get it delivered to the home, to the office. The best energy drink on the planet. Delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. I can't say it enough. Delicious, smooth, and zero aftertaste. 78 calories only. That's the other thing that's just amazing. And as an elixir, oh, baby. Last night I was mixing it up with a little Grey Goose. Had a couple of those. And I was feeling really, really good, man. Go to myedgedrink.com. Use our code Big O and get 10% off. All right. Coming to you live from Walk-Ons in Kendall, 9065 Southwest 167th Avenue. Come on by. Watch the game, order some great food. Come on by, say hi. I'd love to meet you, shake hands, take a picture, anything like that. I'd love to hang out with you, watch the game, and we're going to do that for the next couple of hours. But before we do that, give us a couple of minutes. We're going to take a quick break. We got Chad driving the show, Mike and Big O with you. We're going to come back on the other side on the myedgedrink.com Miami Hurricanes pregame show. Right here on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
You're listening to Miami Hurricanes coverage live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network. This is the myedgedrink.com Miami Hurricanes pregame show with Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
Hey guys, this is Hayden Hurst, NFL tight end. I'm partnering today with Red Recover. We're going to run you guys through some drills. I started using Red Recover last year, my 4th year in the NFL. It just helps me on Mondays after games, get my recovery process started, get back into the fold of the week, and get ready for the following Sunday. And if you want to recover like me, use Red Recover.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them.
With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
If you're a Miami sports fan, then there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your inner Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2511 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or innermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where inner Miami and all Miami sports fans shop.
You're locked into the only platform truly dedicated to South Florida sports. This is the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the SportsTalk305 Network. Here's your hosts, Orlando. The viewpoints, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. The storm is brewing. The warning flag is up. It's time to get ready for Miami Hurricanes football. Welcome to the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes Pregame Show on the Sports Talk 305 Network. Live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. When you're looking for the finest energy drink on the planet, you can only get it delivered to your home or office by going to myedgedrink.com. Use our code Big O and get 10% off an energy drink that's delicious, smooth, and has zero aftertaste. Here's your hosts, Orlando Alzugaray and Mike McCoy.
We're back out here at Walk-Ons in Kendall, 9065 Southwest 162nd Avenue. Come on out here. We're going to be out here now for every single game, pre- and post-game show. I promise you, this is a great place to come out. You're going to enjoy this bar. It is a ginormous and really comfortable bar. They've got a beautiful patio on the outside also, so if you want to hang out outside, they've got that also. And it's not a hot day today. It's a kind of a cloudy day, so there's not a lot of heat out there. Plus, they've got fans out in the patio to kind of cool the area down. And TVs, everywhere. And they've got some video games here, so the kids can play some video games and stay busy. So that's also good. So if you've got the small ones, they can have some fun in the fun zone or the Ace Master or something. I don't know what else. They've got this. I think that's like there's a Jurassic Park game there also. I don't know what else. There's a multicade game there too. So they've got several video games there. Little video room that they have there going on. So a lot of things going on at Walk-Ons, and we'll be here now for every Canes game throughout the season, and even if they get to a bowl game. So, Mike, here's a question I have for you. What happens with Tyler Van Dyke today? How do you handle the Tyler Van Dyke situation? We talked about this a little bit. I don't know I think it was off the air, right? I told you, how's he playing? So if he's playing poorly, are you making a change? If he's struggling because others aren't getting it done, what do you do? How do you handle the whole situation? Because right now you have to say nobody's playing or coaching with confidence on offense. And that's a really uneasy situation to be in.
To answer your question, I mean, you made a great point off air. And the struggles that TVD has had so far throughout the year, they're not all on him, which means that you put in a new quarterback, he's going to see the same struggles.
Yeah, eventually.
Right? And that's exactly what happened 2 weeks ago with Jake. Jake came in, did great. Oh, yeah, but 10 of 19, some of those incompletions, and even the completions.
Yeah, at the beginning it started.
Right.
And then it started to look like
off,
it does. Yeah,
right. So to answer your question, if TVD's coming in and playing well, but the offense is sputtering because of dropped balls, missed, assignments in terms of the blocking scheme or what have you, then no, a new quarterback isn't going to make guys catch balls. But if he is missing open guys, if he is not himself, if he is, mechanics aren't looking right, which Coach Cristobal said the mechanics is not an issue as to why he's struggling, then you take him out if it's because of those things, right? And everybody has been saying, and it's not breaking news either, that Jake is the emotional leader. He's the more vocal guy. Guys rally around him. By the way, it's not a case where the offensive line is playing for one guy and not playing for the other. Not the case, or guys are catching balls for one guy and not the other. But TVD has clearly had his own issues, missing open guys. Texas A&M probably would have been a different result, or at least going into overtime, if he hadn't missed Keyshawn or a couple guys on that third down, or who was it that he missed Redding on a third down? But yeah, that's me. I'm giving him, if he's not looking good, and I'm talking about on his own accord, by that third series, it's time to yank him. And the thing with that, is you can't flip-flop. You can't have a N'Kosi Perry, Jaren Williams situation in which you toggle guys and then you're messing with the guy's confidence and development and what have you. So if you're going to make this switch to Jake today, the only way Tyler comes back is due to injury.
Right. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, if the switch happens one more time, it's a permanent switch.
Yeah.
And then you have to try it with the other guy, and then you'll be back. And then then you're in that mess of going back and forth. And to me, I'm wondering what mindset is Tyler coming into this game with, but I'm also wondering what mindset Josh Gaddis is coming into this mindset. How much of it is he trying to assume his responsibility for all of this? And then at the same time, look, one of the things that I'd like to see, and I know you run out of options, but it's kind of like watching DJ Ivy. I'm tired of you telling me what he does in practice. I don't see it in the games. Give somebody else a start already. And so receivers are dropping passes. Well, then, dude, you need to go to the bench. And you need to start playing other guys. And I don't care if it's a redshirt freshman. Then use his damn year up already and let's go find out who can catch the ball, because you're also messing with your quarterback's confidence. And then you're also getting your quarterback frustrated. You know what I mean? And then your quarterback loses, I don't know, he loses juice in the locker room because things aren't happening. But yet, if you're really objective, it's not all his fault. And so this is a really hard thing to balance for everybody right now, but it's a really unstable situation. And as Tommy just said, college football, and so is the NFL, it's all about the quarterback. And Miami's got that position screwed up right now. That's the one position, dude, you can't screw up.
No, you can't screw it up. And so, again, talent is there, but confidence is so big nowadays in any sport. We're talking about college football, so keep it college football centric. So big in college football, and riding the emotional waves, game to game, quarter to quarter, play to play momentum. It's a big deal. So about Gaddis, I think you approach this game, you got to establish the run first off and for. Unless your game plan is, look, let's pass to open up the run. Whatever the case is, Miami has had 2 weeks to figure this out. Okay, and what I'll be disappointed in is if Miami goes into the game and you see the same names making the same mistakes and there is no personnel adjustment. Then as a fan, I'd be PO'd because it's like, listen, look, this is the 5th game of this, and I can't see 11 doing the same thing, making the same mistakes, 8 out there making it, or 70. That is one player on the offensive line that I'm expecting to be a switch, and we know that Mario got to check on if there's a that there's been a starting lineup announced that Mario likes to do that right before kickoff. But if Justice Oluwaseun is starting, then he must have had a moment with Jesus over the off week, over the bye week, because he has been one of the most inconsistent offensive linemen. Number 70, Justice Oluwaseun, the right guard, so far this season for Miami. So it's simple. Get in there, do your job. If you can't, it doesn't matter if the guy behind you is a red shirt or a true freshman. You got to find the right combination.
I'm with you there. By the way, they announced the captains for Week 6. James Williams, Cam Kitchens, Jalen Rivers, and Will Mallory also are the captains for the game today.
Okay.
All right. So we've got that coming in. Rain is coming down pretty hard right now at Hard Rock Stadium. So that
got to talk about that,
I got to say that might be a good thing for Miami.
That's what I'm saying, because who does that favor? I mean, if
the only thing is, if you do complete in the passing game in the rain, then the receiver becomes the guy at an advantage because he knows what he's making him cuts. But it is much harder to pass in the rain than it is, obviously, with a beautiful sun going on. So that might help out a little bit. Again, they're the better offense. So I don't know if weather is going to help a bad offense either.
And listen, they got a quarterback that can run too. So
right,
they got a quarterback that can run too.
No, they got a running back and a quarterback that can run.
So if the weather keeps up, at least for Miami, you got to wonder, like, okay, Miami probably becomes that much more predictable, because Miami's strength is, if we're going to use the word strength, and I use that loosely, is been on the ground running the ball. So we'll see how that plays out. But again, my biggest key of the game for Miami is defensively, and I think would agree with me in the sense that you got to get off the field on third down. Miami's looked good on first and second. They're first and second down all-stars so far throughout the season, okay? Even when and that's the frustrating part about the defense. You get into third and obvious, third and, okay, they're going to pass here, and you still seem to have kind of a Swiss cheese defense, and, there's holes all over the place. So I don't understand it. But getting off the field on third down will be huge, and I get it. I'm beating a dead horse. But Drake May is second when it comes to third and fourth down efficiency, according to Pro Football Focus. He's the second highest graded passer in the country, only behind C.J. Stroud on third and fourth downs this year. So you can't give a guy like that second chances.
By the way, no Elijah Royal or Zion Nelson spotted on the field in pregame. So,
but Tyreek was, which is a plus.
Yeah, Xavier Restrepo was on the field without crutches.
Progress,
yeah.
You could say.
I mean, if you want, So Tyreek Stevenson and Darryl Porter, as expected, are dressed in warm-ups. Jalen Knighton also, along with Henry Parrish, all expected to come back today. So those are some of the things. Adam Lichtenstein, by the way, reporting that Kansas City, Denver Broncos, and Seattle Seahawks have scouts in today's game. Okay. And our boy Dan Leberfeld, was it? No, not Dan. I'm sorry, Dan Leberfeld. Why would I think of Dan? Dan Leberfeld will be with us tomorrow for the Jets. But Kevin Brockway, who's one of our insiders in the State of Florida Gridiron Classic, he's at the Florida-Missouri game today. And Dolphin scouts were at that one. Dolphin and Jet scouts he spotted. So just a couple of nuggets there from some of the guys that are obviously part of our platform and giving out and dishing out some nuggets, as they say.
Right.
All right. The other thing in this game, Miami has beaten Bethune-Cookman, Southern Miss, lost to Texas A&M and Middle Tennessee. The Tar Heels, well, their one loss is to Notre Dame overall. UNC has won 3 in a row against Miami, including last year's 45-42 win. North Carolina leads this overall series 14-11. So not only has North Carolina won 3 in a row, they own the series 14-11. The last time they were here, they put up nearly 800 yards of offense. Okay, this has been a real problem for Miami all the way around when it comes to North Carolina. I don't think people realize it's not just a now thing. It's an overall thing. that Miami has not been able to get the best of North Carolina. And I got to say, Jim Larinaga may get the best of North Carolina in basketball, which is the weirdest thing in the world, and I can't figure that one out. But take a shot, take a stab at that one, Mike.
Not only North Carolina, but Duke. I think he beat Coach K like 7 times.
Yeah.
Before Coach K decided to quote unquote hang him up. No, but it's one of those things that you look at an FSU series, Miami FSU series, and it kind of goes in waves because during the Mark Richt era, I think there was a string there.
Dude, I have no problem losing to FSU. It sucks.
Yeah.
But they're like really good over the years. And I know this FSU now and Miami aren't that good, but whatever. But what I'm saying is North Carolina should not.
Listen.
It should not be 14-11 North Carolina, bro.
It shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
I don't know if people realize that they own the series, not just a recent streak. It's not like Miami leads 30-10 and they've lost the last 3. Oh, my God. You know what? No. You've lost overall in the 25 games you've played to them. That's
to a basketball school.
Yeah, man.
To a basketball school. But listen, new day, new offense, new defense, new week, bye week, coming off a bye week from Miami. And again, Coach Cristobal, it was undefeated not last year, but throughout his time at Oregon, coming off of a bye week. So let's see what Miami whips up. One thing that I am discouraged about to see, and again, he must have had that coming to Jesus moment, but StateOfTheU.com is reporting that the first team offensive line that was practicing during warmups does include Justice Oluwaseun, the lone not the lone offensive lineman, but the offensive lineman in my eyes that has been struggling the most throughout Miami's 4 games this season. So from left to right, it's going to be Campbell, then Rivers, and then of course Ja'Kai Clark, Justice Oluwaseun at the right guard, and then DJ Scaife at the right tackle position. This goes across the board, not just TVD. You got to have some type of limit or leash as to whoever is not looking right out there, because this is not the game to figure it out. This is the game to get it right. That's simple. You've had a week to figure it out. And if they're still having confidence in guys that haven't been struggling or have been struggling, there's got to be a good reason for it. And I get it. Whatever you do in practice hasn't been translating throughout the week. I'm keeping my eyes, and you guys should too out there. Keep your eye out on the right side of the offensive line today, please, especially in pass pro. Look at number 70, and then we'll talk about it, what he looks like to you in the postgame.
All right, in baseball, they're struggling to score runs, so it looks like the game will be moved to ESPN until that baseball game is done. So just want you to know, as you get into 4 o'clock and you don't see it on ESPN, and you see baseball, well, the Rays and the Indians can't score runs. So North Carolina, Miami will start on ESPN News, all right? On behalf of Mike McCoy, Chad back in the studios, and Sean, appreciate all of you for tuning in. I'm Orlando Alzugaray. We will return for the post-game show the second the game ends. That's the second we start right here on the post-game show live from Walk-Ons in Kendall. Come on out here, 9065 Southwest 167th Avenue. We thank you all for watching, for tuning in, for downloading. We'll be back later on, hopefully with some good news, hopefully with a Canes win. And this has been our MyEdgeDrink.com Miami Hurricanes pregame show live from Walk-Ons in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network.
This has been the Edge Energy Drink Miami Hurricanes pregame show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall on the Sports Talk 305 Network. The show is mastered by Sean Stanley and Chad Shobe. Visit Walk-On Sports Bistro in Kendall at 9065 Southwest 162nd Avenue. Enjoy Walk-On's authentic and mouth-watering Louisiana cuisine prepared fresh from scratch. Closes daily at midnight, 7 days a week. Please subscribe to our platform by searching Big O Radio Show on all digital avenues. We'll be back with a complete wrap-up of the game once the last second ticks off the clock. Thank you for your support and enjoy Hurricanes football.